Hey everybody, welcome to today's story. You guys all wanted an update on Solana. It is Wednesday. This is the first dedicated Solana video I've done in exactly a month. And this one's called Beyond Bullish. And by the way, I've been pounding the table in this asset now since early 2021 when it was about 10 bucks. Now it's 23 times that. But despite being 23 times higher, I've never been more bullish on this asset in my entire life. So let me show you why with a whole bunch of data and metrics. And of course, you can make your own decision afterwards. And this is never financial advice. And a big thank you as well to Patreon. This is from Leb Zeppelin. Really enjoying your Patreon subscription to stay on top of things, especially the crypto-related trade alerts. Awesome. Let's get into the news first. This is the Solana news segment. And by the way, before I continue, big thank you to the mods in the chat. Appreciate you all for being here. Hey, American Beijinger, Sean D, T&D might be in bed, and K8, thanks all for coming. But let's get into the actual news of exactly what's going on in the world. This is a guy called Matt Hougan. He's the Bitwise Asset Management Chief Investment Officer. And he was talking on a video, and he said DeFi will be 100 times larger than it is today. 1 billion people on Earth will be using DeFi. And he said the people that go and use DeFi will probably do it on Solana. And Solana is the best setup in crypto he has seen in 8 years. He's been watching crypto for 8 years. He's never seen a setup like this before. And I agree. And I'll back him up and me up with some facts as well. And seasonality is huge in all assets, but this one's especially huge. This is Q4. For Sol, Q4 is all. We are now in Q4, my friends. It's October 8th, 2025. If we look at 2023, Solana went up 921%. In 2024, 71.48%. Just in that Q4 period. All the action happens in Q4. Of course, green last year looks a bit muted compared to 2023. But again, Q4 will be wild. That's for sure. Part of the wildness will be brought in by this thing called the ETF. There are a bunch, about 11 in the box. And there is an imminent Solana ETF approval, probably on Friday or before. This is the final deadline for the approvals, with expectations that the SEC will greenlight this as early as in the next 2-3 days at the outside. Now, there is one caveat I would like to say is there is a US government shutdown that could throw a little wrinkle in here. Either way, it's imminent. It's coming for sure. And the next 3 days will be incredible. And this will trigger a huge surge of money into a very small asset. We'll talk about relativity as well a little bit later under the charts. But the ETF could send Solana soaring. I love the alliteration. Sol could surge to 290 to 345 if the SEC approves spot Solana ETFs this week. Approval odds are at 100%. It's interesting. 345 is exactly half of the target I'll show you from a chart of conservatively how this asset should be valued at 700 bucks. We'll get to that too. And people are still upset. It's wild. 2 years ago, Solana was 23 bucks. Today, it's 230. It's 10x in 2 years, folks. And people are still not happy. You should try playing TradFi for a little while, and I guarantee you'll be very happy with those results. But sometimes expectations for some people are a little bit off. Anyhow, there is upside. That's why I'm incredibly bullish. And other proof points too. Solana futures now smoke Bitcoin and ETH. Solana futures hit $1 billion in open interest in just 20 weeks. And this has completely outpaced Bitcoin and Ether per the CME group. Now, why is that happening? Well, the futures players are playing on the ETF launch notification, which means the price will go higher. And that's caused a huge amount of open interest for this asset. And in addition, a little bit of Grayscale news. They have a thing called GSOL, and they just activated GSOL, Grayscale Solana Trust, staking. So you'll now get rewards on your GSOL as well. And I think I have a little GSOL sitting in an account somewhere. probably in some little retirement account, but it'll be interesting to monitor that. Now let's get into some other news too about all the institutions that are building on Solana. In case you missed any of this news, Franklin Templeton is building their money market fund on Solana. BlackRock Biddle is building their money market fund on Solana. They started with Ethereum. Now they pivoted to Solana as well. US government is using Pyth to bring economic data onto the blockchain. PayPal is releasing its stablecoin natively on Solana blockchain. Stablecoins, we've got Stripe, Circle, Paxos, Societe Generale, VanEck, Fiserv, Hamilton Lane, Apollo, all launching stables, privatized funds, etc. on Solana. And Visa expands USDC stablecoin settlements using Solana as well. Thank you to Rockway for that nice little chart. Very nice. And another unique value proposition that Solana has, high throughput. Yep. Solana has the only high throughput infrastructure of any blockchain, the fastest, quickest, and best. And it blows ETH and Bitcoin away, despite, by the way, the market cap of Ethereum is 5 times that of Sol, and the market cap of Bitcoin is like 25 times that of Sol. But that's just separate issue. But gravity will eventually work. Real usage at internet scale, only Solana does that. Native yield from fees and tips, only Solana does that. And asset with upside cash flow, yes, only Solana does. Now I did covered yesterday the amount of actual yield you get from staking ETH through an ETH ETF, and it's less than 1%. Not very good. Let's look at a couple of brief charts. We'll get the charts out of the way first, and then we'll get into some metrics and money and numbers, which is fun. First of all, shout out to James. He put together this beautiful cup and handle picture. That is James Easton, UK. Shout out to Team UK. And it is quite a remarkable cup and handle. But what a cup and handle typically represents is once you break out of that handle side, it's to the moon. And these things generate themselves over multi-year periods. This chart goes all the way back to 2021. You may not be able to realize it, but it is a monstrous cup and handle. So when you have something that's been coiling up for so long, when it pops out the other side, it's going to be wild. A little bit of TA. And per the Sol upside model, by the way, there'll be a link to it here. It's a free model we built on TradingView. Anybody can use it. But it gives you a good idea of what the price of Solana should be, equating to different market caps of different assets. We should actually pop in some Binance and stuff in there too, considering the rampage Binance has gone on. But I do believe, with the data I'm about to show you, that Solana should be trading at least 70%, conservatively sandbagged, the market cap of ETH. In fact, I would argue it should be trading at many multiples of ETH, but I'm not going to get too crazy. But if Solana is trading at exactly 70% the market cap of ETH, the price of Solana would be $700. Now remember, this calculates the number of tokens, the price, the market cap, and it comes up with the actual relative price. If ETH market cap goes to, goes higher, or the price goes to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, this will also levitate upwards. So that's why I always get very excited when other assets go high, like when gold goes to the moon, breaking 4,000 last night. I go, yes, because Bitcoin will follow. So it's really exciting. When ETH goes up, I go, yes, that makes Solana even more undervalued. Now, if you want to take other numbers, you could take 50% of ETH market cap, the price would be $520. 33% of ETH market cap, the price would be $360, etc., etc. So we are now languishing down at the bottom of a fifth of the market cap, which doesn't make any sense. But all of crypto is completely logical. But eventually, gravity will work and the price will rise because the cream will float to the tops. And I'll prove that to you now with a whole bunch of metrics that I promise will blow your mind. This is called money and metrics. Okay, let's look at money and metrics for crypto. Crypto revenue over the last 24 hours. Number one, Solana, $5.31 million in a day. Hyperliquid, number two, 4.7 million. Binance, 3.5 million. And number four, Ethereum, 3.2 million. Sol makes nearly twice the money, but it's a fifth of the market cap. Sol also makes a lot more than Binance, And it's nearly half of the market cap. It's wild. And shout out to 21 Shares, who know their stuff, by the way, about crypto. This is interesting. Between October and 2022 and September 2023, total network revenue made 13 million. Okay. Solana made 5. That was in a year, basically. Solana made 5 million in a day yesterday. So just for perspective, it's a very modest figure. But fast forward to today, and the number is nearly $3 billion a year. That's a 220x increase that signals a huge shift in the network's maturity, value capture, adoption, activity, etc. This was once an experimental blockchain, and now it is the most commercially successful ecosystem in crypto by far. And 21 Shares said they pulled in 2.85 billion in annual revenue, rivaling companies like Palantir and Robinhood. Can you just imagine for a second Solana trading at the market caps of those two assets? Check out Robinhood's stock chart today too. Kind of wild as well. And let's talk more about speed. I always say speed matters. But Solana, not is it just fast, but it's the fastest technology ever in the history of the planet Earth to reach $100 billion in market cap. It's up against Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, and Apple. Apple took 31 years to get there. Solana got there in 5. Google took 7. Tesla took 17. Just to give you an idea of what this means. And Sol grew at 181% compound annual growth rate from 2020 to 2025. That's 3 times more than Bitcoin and 2 times more than ETH compound growth. Now, if we fast forward, this is where it gets kind of a little bit perverse. If we take these CAGRs and project the price forward, we get to 2000 pretty quickly, my friends. Pretty quickly. Wild. But there's more. There's more. Let's look at the money makers in crypto. Which chains make all the money? Well, Tether is the big dog at the top, 653 million in September. Wow. And they have very few staff. That is the most profitable company on the planet, by the way, in terms of profit per employee, revenue per employee, etc. Circle's number 2, 229 million. By the way, Circle's gone on a bit of a rampage this week, so that's nice to see. Better think about my hedge. Hyperliquid at number 3 for September, 82.5 million. Pump.fun, Axiom, and then Tron, Edge, Jupiter, Sky, Phantom. Now, I would like to point out a couple of things. If you give half a point to Circle, because half of their issuance happens on Solana right now, if not more, if I'm not mistaken, that would get a half a score. You got 6.5 of the top 10 money-making projects in crypto are all Solana projects. Solana projects. Now, if you strip out the stable coins, there's only one that is not a Solana project, and that is Hype. Think about that. You may ask, where are the ETH projects? Yeah, well, Tom Lee, if you're listening, just saying hi. Let's come and debate one day. If you're, Wharton to Wharton, that could be a good battle. Anyway, Jupiter is also launching their synthetic dollar on Ethena using Jupiter. And ENA, I always criticize Ethena having bad tokenomics, but they do a synthetic dollar, which sometimes can end in tears. But anyway, Jupiter are launching their synthetic dollar on soon using Ethena as a backend. And Axiom, one of the names you saw there, speaking of speed, we saw that the fastest technology ever to reach $100 billion in market cap was Solana. But now we have the Axiom, which is a Solana project for trading. It's $100 million in revenue in 5 months. That's 20 weeks. Again, the fastest company in history to hit that level. Wild. Crazy. Now, let's look at some more numbers. Dex volume by chain. Solana is the red stuff, and it's number 1, 24 hours, $5.56 billion. Number 2, over the last 24 hours, though, in fairness, is Ethereum, 5.415, and then it goes down the line to others. And then we have, speaking of stablecoins, Solana stablecoin, supply just hit a new all-time high. Thank you to Circle for that. And TradFi disruption is next. You hear Toli and Mert and everybody else talking about ICM, Internet Capital Markets. But a couple of things. This is many industries are being disrupted right now by things like AI, etc. But one of the biggest, or the biggest industry in the world after energy, is probably traditional finance. Not only does it make a lot of money, but it also manages a lot of money. We're talking about $400 trillion worth. And much of the technology underpinning financial services and TradFi is 30-year-old or 50-year-old COBOL, etc. Complete garbage. It's slow, kludgy, inefficient, ineffective, but it's going to be disrupted. And it's going to be disrupted fast. So watch this space. Internet capital markets will be 24/7, 365. All assets in one venue. We're talking real estate, stocks, crypto, hedging, derivatives, futures, perps, peer-to-peer transactions, and extremely low cost, or in some cases even free. But if you look at the derivatives notional value, it's up to 800 trillion. Real estate, 380 trillion. Global debt, 310 trillion. It's actually 320 trillion, but we're not going to argue. Public equities, 110 trillion. Insurance, 40 trillion. Gold, 23 trillion. PE markets, 113 trillion. And private credit, 3 trillion. All of this will be upset by crypto. The question is which one? We'll find out soon. And Sol is now faster than all the titans of TradFi. Stripe runs at 3,000 transactions per second, Visa at 2,100 transactions per second, and NASDAQ 1,700 transactions per second. But now, with Alpenglow and all the other features that Solana have released, they are now quicker. Therefore, they can support TradFi in a very special way. Now, let's talk about the roadmap. Not to 1,700 TPS or 3,000 TPS, but let's talk real turkey here. This is the roadmap to 1 million TPS and how they expect to get there. First of all, Firedancer mainnet is now running across 20% of all validators, and that makes it a little bit quicker. Midterm, Alpenglow, the new consensus algo, will make it a lot quicker with extremely fast finality down to 120 to 150 milliseconds. And 00, fiber cables across the planet will also make the network run at the speed of light. We heard Tolly talking about the speed of light years ago, and now it's coming to reality. And long term, there'll be multiple concurrent leaders globally, asynchronous execution. And then we get, we did have one Solana client hit a burst of 1.1 million transactions per second on a single node in a synthetic test, but it's only a matter of time before we break that ahead to the whole entire network. So 1 million TPS is on the roadmap, and we just be patient before it comes. Now, more metrics. These ones are pretty wild. This is just a point in time. Shout out to Rockaway. They talked about the number of monthly active users, not daily active users, but as of July 2025, where we have the full data for all the chains, Solana had 103 million monthly active addresses. Ethereum had 3.9 million. Okay, that's 26 times more users than Ethereum. And again, Solana trades at a fifth of the market cap. And transaction count, 3.53 billion transactions. Ethereum did 46 million. So 76 more activity, X more activity, and 26X more users. You tell me how things should be valued. I'm open to suggestions. I have some ideas. And speaking of AI, because AI touches everything in today's world, agentic AI is rapidly growing and recurring revenue streams are beginning to happen. And guess who the leader is in agentic AI? Yes, it's Solana. $3 billion market cap across 800 different AI agents. Number 2 is Base, and number 3 is Ethereum, 4 is Near, and 5 is Binance Smart Chain. Solana leads market in AI agents. It has the lowest cost, the highest speed, which are needed for agents, because the time will come in the future where there will be literally, get this, trillions of agents supporting 1 billion users. Always about the path to 1 billion users, the path to 1 million transactions per second. I'm laying it all out so you know what's going on. Now, speaking of Binance, let's talk a bit about manipulation, because people are frustrated with the price. They see gold going to the moon and Bitcoin going to the moon, and Solana's still not at all-time highs. What's going on here? Well, shout out to DeFi Banked. Cool little chart he put together using some cool tools. I see what you're doing there. The confluence test is in there too. But Solana has broken down on this pair. This is Sol BNB pair, and it has completely broken down because Binance has gone to the moon, which is crazy because Binance do not own any Solana, but they keep on shipping millions of Solana to Wintermute to tank the price. Hold on a second. Allegedly, they don't have any Solana, but they're sending it to somebody else. Weird. From Curb Sol, hello Curb. Binance caught manipulating Sol price, sending 10,000 plus Sol to Wintermute to sell after showing no proof of Solana reserves. And this is not a news story. They've been doing this for years, but now it's getting more egregious. Let me explain why it's getting more egregious. Because Solana does a lot more than Ethereum, and it does an awful lot more than Binance as well. Makes all the money, all the users, you name it. But look at this. If Solana was priced with the market cap of Binance, not even the all-time high, it would be trading at $334 and not, let me see if the price is pumping as I'm speaking, Sol 228. So it is trading at 0.68x under the value of Binance. And it should be going a lot higher. Binance market cap is $183 billion. Solana's just 125. So another good proof point where the future is bright. Now, let's talk about another aspect of the future is DATs. I hope you like the format because I structure all the different pieces. Otherwise, it's hard to know where you are in the story going through 50 slides. DATs, digital asset treasury companies, the new word, and it's easier to say than treasury. Anyway, DeFi Dev, they are issuing warrants. If you have shares before October 23rd, each warrant, you'll get one warrant for every 10 shares. And that will enable you to purchase Solana or the DeFi Dev stock at $22.50. And that will help them raise more money to buy more Solana. What's interesting about this is a couple of things. One, if DeFi Dev goes to $40, it could be worth a bit. If DeFi Dev goes up because Solana goes up, it's going to go up. It's going to be worth a bit. These things should be in the money soon. They're not in the money today. I think DeFi Dev went up quite a bit today. Let's check the price on that. Hold on. Wrong watch list. DeFi Dev went up 14% today. Now it's at $17.36. Still below the strike. But when Solana goes to 350 to 500, then DeFi Dev will go back to 40. And those warrants could be $17.50 in the money. So they're worth looking at if you have stock. I have options on DeFi Dev, so I don't get to avail of that opportunity. But keep an eye out anyway, too. And Upexi just broke 2 million Sol, worth nearly $500 million. Again, there's tons now. There's over 26 different Sol treasury companies. I only track the big ones. And this is my model. I call my HODL model of the top 6. DeFi Dev, Upexi, Forward, which ticker is Ford. Don't confuse it with F for the car company Ford. Stake is the old Sol Strategies. HSDT is Helios Health. And MFH is, I forget what MFH stands for. Anyway, the NAV premiums, the lower, the better. For the first time ever, DeFi Dev has leapfrogged Upexi to become even cheaper. The discount on DeFi Dev is 26%. Discount on Upexi is 11%. Ford is a premium at 35%, and Stake is 61%. These things have been hammered. Do not touch the other two. They're way too high. That's like when MetaPlanet was at 6 or something. You don't want to buy things at that price as well. So finally, it's a long story, covered a lot of ground. Let me know in the comments below if you can interpret the data that I just shared, and let me know if you're bullish or not. Final word from, once again, Matt Hougan. He explained that while Bitcoin often feels special and hard for Wall Street to grasp, stablecoins and tokenization are very easy for Wall Street to grasp. And he believes a revolution for payments and markets like stocks, bonds, commodities, real estate is coming. And he thinks Solana is the new Wall Street. The speed, the throughput, the finality makes it extraordinarily attractive. And he talks about things like upgrades and other stuff. He said, basically, Solana is the Wall Street for stablecoins. Tom Lee will tell you it's Ethereum, but Matt has a different point of view. So, hope you enjoyed the show. Big thank you to Matt for joining us today. Hope you got smarter. I'm very bullish. I've been bullish on Solana for nearly 5 years now. It'll change if the data changes, but the data is not changing. Nearly 5,000 people watching live, which is very good for a dedicated video. Big thank you, Sean D. and everybody else, American Beijinger, Moto89, AR Ron, Sylvain Muster in Switzerland, up late, DBF 430 in Australia, up early, Buckhorn in the US, BD, good to see you, Blazo, thank you, buddy, Adam Q, Dude Travels, Bitcoin Broccoli, Brayman, Dog One, Hotel Goddess, and Swiper No Swiping. Thank you all for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show. Solana is going up. The bull market is not over. I just want to share one last slide again so I don't forget. And I don't remember the number, but I'm gonna hang on, let me try pull it up. It's the one where I want to talk about all the action happens in Q4, because that's worth looking at one more time. This one. Does it pop up? Hang on. Yes, that's the one. All the action is Q4, and we are in Q4, ladies and gentlemen. Just wait for it. It's going to come. Thank you all, by the way, for coming too. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah. Get the message out. I never ask for likes or subscribes or anything else. I think you're smart enough to do that by yourself, but hit the likes so you can help people make money. It's rare I put my reputation on the line to say something's going up. This is definitely going up. Stay well. Bye.